Hello, everyone. Welcome for joining today's session. I'd like to introduce today's presenter, Sharon Eliassi. Before I'll hand it to him, we'd love to hear any kind of comments, questions you're going to have in today's session. Please use the chat window or a question window to post those questions. We'll get to them toward the end of the session. Sharon?
Thank you, Sharon, and hello, everyone. We're gonna have the next 60 minutes as a showcase for our recent development, Analytical Factor Autonomous Forecast. So before I'm gonna jump into the solution itself, a bit about Analytical Factor and who we are for those who not aware. So Analytical Factor, we are an Oracle partner specialized within Oracle supply chain solution footprint. We are a group of experienced people that have many years of specific experience around demand planning, demand forecasting, and even more specialized within that on the statistical forecasting, the statistical modeling, and tuning those capabilities, both on Demantra and Oracle Demand Management Cloud, which we call it in short ODMC. We have both Nadav Zivelin and myself coming from many years working at Oracle and even at Demantra. So we know the product inside out. We understand Oracle overall, but we also understand Oracle supply chain and how everything should integrate together. We have many years of experience with doing what we do, meaning that we have many successful customers, both implementation and tuning their statistical engine, and also helping customers improve their supply chain process through forecasting. We are a global company based in the US, Austria, and Israel. One thing to mention as well is that we are an Oracle partner when it comes to supply chain applications. We are working together with Trinamics to develop the cloud version for Oracle Trade Promotion Management. I'm going to mention that at the end of my presentation today. And we also developed the extension to Oracle Demand Management Cloud when it comes to demand sensing. Okay, and let's go and start to talk about the different things that autonomous forecast come to mitigate and resolve. And the first thing I want to start with is demand forecasting, which is a subset within demand planning and your monthly S&OP process. So why demand forecasting is important and what are the challenges on that process? Demand forecasting is important because it's supposed to provide for us a good baseline forecast, right? I mean, the statistical forecast and then also the user process in order to get into a consensus forecast on a monthly cycle is the building blocks for our supply chain. Our inventory levels, our customer service, our sales, and even our financial numbers are all dependent on our forecasting numbers. So it's critical. The more the accuracy we're going to bring within our forecasting process, the more we're going to be able to be optimal on everything else I just mentioned. Now, challenges, and I'm sure that all of you who did that or doing it on a daily basis would understand it's a complex, it's not an easy task. It's a complex thing which is constantly also changing, right? I mean, the business is constantly changing. I'm not even going to mention the pandemic, but even without the pandemic, customer demands are changing, the product portfolio is changing. There are many different things that are impacting our demand, competitors, promotions, events, the ability to gather all the data from different sources, harmonize it. In order to understand the demand patterns is challenging as well. So it's not an easy process as it might sound in order to generate good qualitative demand forecasting. Another thing is that for those of you who worked over the career into a couple of different customers, it's not a one-fits-all kind of a methodology. Yes, almost all customers I know do forecasting, but then forecasting is very different for different verticals. And even if I'm just going to take as an example pharmaceutical, so even if we're going to look into pharmaceutical, it's not that all the pharmaceutical I worked with had the same exact process. They're going to have different challenges, especially goes when we're going to talk about CPG type of customers. Each organization have its own challenges to deal with, either the data, either the promotions, either the visibility, either the synchronization, and so on. And then the last thing on that note is expertise. You need to know exactly what you're doing when it comes to generating a good forecasting in general, and specifically using the statistical algorithms. You have to know exactly how to use them in order to get good quality forecast from them from that process. Now, and I like this slide because this slide simplify what forecast error means and why it's critical. Because forecast error has different shapes, right? I mean, we are always dealing, those who do forecast on a daily basis, we are always looking at the negative part, right? We are measuring the error, we are not measuring the accuracy. And then within the forecast error, and I think the slide speaks for itself, are we going to have challenges even if we are over forecasting and we are under forecasting? Yes, many times, especially for CPG, we want to be over focused, but we don't want to be too much over focused. Over focus can lead into inventory holding costs, obsolescence, and basically reduced margins. Where under forecast, we're going to directly lose revenue, right? And then bottom line, under forecasting, we're going to have lower customer satisfaction, which is nobody wants. No organization I know wants to lose customers. Now, trying to get forecast error as low as possible, and I think the quote over here from AMR, and there are many, speak for itself, are going to have a direct impact on your inventory levels. So you're going to be able to reduce the inventory levels significantly, and at the same time, you're going to improve your margins. So it has a direct impact both on saving and moreover, improving the revenue sheet. Now, I usually I speak about this slide actually for 10 years, but now with the pandemic, it's even echo itself even more. Everybody constantly speak about the new norm, and then I would ask, what is the new norm, right? I mean, when it comes to forecasting, and if we talk about statistical forecasting, and if we talk about, as an example, on regression modeling, it's all about give me 2 years of your historical demand, and I'm going to look into the patterns, and I'm going to look into the demand behavior. I'm going to look for seasonality and trend of growth as an example, and I'm going to generate for you a good statistical forecast. But then what happened last year definitely not happening this year, and call me optimistic, assuming that the pandemic will end in 6 months. We're not going to want to use this year as the base for generating a forecast next year, right? So within forecasting process, there is a constant change that we have to adapt into on a regular basis. And that is another thing to think about when it comes to forecasting. If we want our forecast to be successful, it's a dynamic process that we constantly have to take into consideration on everything that matters to the business, and everything that impacts the business has to also be translated into those statistical models. So that was one topic. Another topic is demand segmentation. So let me take a few seconds and explain what's demand segmentation before I'm going to jump into the challenges of demand segmentation. Demand segmentation, I see a growing demand for demand segmentation in the area of statistical forecasting for the last 5-6 years. And what it means basically is not looking at all of your data as a one fits all when it comes to statistical forecasting. If we have our fast moving and we have our slow moving items, those are two different data animals. They are behaved differently. And we don't want to tackle with the same statistical configuration those two different examples. And there are others. So demand segmentation is about, let's look at the data in groups of that are similar. When it comes to demand segmentation for forecasting, is let's look at the demand behavior and group the data based on the demand behavior. What we usually like to do at Analytical Factor, and we find that uh, a very good practice with our customers, is we like to go with the three segments: the high intermittency, the high variability, and the low variability. That's usually what works best, but it doesn't necessarily need to be that. Also, another thing about demand segmentation, for those of you already using Oracle Demand Management Cloud, it already has the demand segmentation capability. The thing is that the demand segmentation that you have within Oracle is, how should I put it? It's a static one. It doesn't give you the ability to do sophisticated algorithms to capture high variability or low variability. And then it doesn't change over time as the data will change. So that's some challenges. Other challenges is customers who do forecasting and they want to, within the monthly cycle, to identify specific combinations, the fast movings as an example, from everything. It usually takes time, and because of it's a monthly cycle and we're not going to have the time, we're not going to have the ability to find and do a target configuration for those specific combinations. Lack of visibility. Lack of visibility is if we have our KPIs and our KPIs are running on an aggregation of the data, and then we look at all the data together, we might going to do an averaging of our data, meaning that if we are looking at our fast moving and slow moving together into our reports, then we are losing visibility because we are doing a kind of averaging. And another thing is that we are not going to have the ability to capture the true demand changes or market changes because we are looking on averaging of the high and the low intermittent or variability combinations together. So demand segmentation or not doing demand segmentation basically doesn't give you the capability to have true visibility on the things that matter on your data. So when it comes to demand segmentation, what's the solution? What's the solution from the perspective of the market is that if you're going to segment your data into, as the example I gave, into the three buckets, customers who do that and then they are not doing one forecast method, they are having different forecasts for the different segments, those customers see a 32% higher average customer service level because they have the ability to focus. They are improving their focus from where they didn't have segmentation before by 66% improvement. And then I think that another thing that is very important, that gives them the focus to know on which items they need to have extra inventory. They're not going to go and build inventory on all the items. On the slow movers, they definitely not going to do as much as they're going to do on the fast movers. And that kind of visibility enables them to be more agile. The solution that we have, and I'm going to show you also in the demo, is that we extend the Oracle segmentation capability by giving you the flexibility to define dynamic segmentation or based on more sophisticated algorithms that can run every month. So basically, we can segment the overall combinations of demand into 3 or 4, what based on the needs of segments. And the important thing is that we can refresh the segmentation on an ongoing basis. So for example, if I have an item that currently it's a highly intermittent, and 3 months down the road, the demand of that item change into highly variable, the segmentation that we have will identify it and change the segmentation definition for that combination, right? And it's done automatically. So you don't have to worry about that. It's an automatic process. All you have to worry about is define it once, define how you want your segmentation to work, and from there, you're going to have segmentation, and also your forecast going to work based on that segmentation. A bit about Oracle Demand Management Cloud ODMC tuning capabilities. Many capabilities with Oracle when it comes to statistical forecasting. It was with the mantra, and it's the same with Oracle Demand Management Cloud. There are many capabilities. Let's speak about 4 of them quickly. Causal factors. You have the ability to plug as many causal factors as you have in mind. Now, causal factors, in my opinion, are the most important thing, because those causal factors will enable the statistical models to learn about your data, to learn about what makes your data unique, like promotion, different events, anything that goes with COVID-19, about your holidays, trends, and then you don't have to do one trend fits all. So if we have segmentation, we can put different trends. A lot of capabilities with causal factors. Second thing is the forecasting models. The mantra, ODMC comes with 15 different models, and then they are not all of them are within the same configuration, right? I mean, so for example, we have over here the Holt model. We usually want to use the Holt model only for the first year, but if we have data more than a year, we probably don't want to use the Holt model. So a lot of capabilities with the 15 forecasting models, but also all those capabilities require some domain expertise. We have the forecast tree, which I always like to call it a search path. Do we want to look at the data at the item store, or we would rather look at the data at the product category region? So we can define where we want the statistical models to look at the data, at what aggregation. And then we can also define plan A and plan B based on the forecast tree. So a lot of flexibility there, but with that said, you need to know exactly what you're doing in order for that to make sense. And the last thing is ODMC comes with many different parameters that will enable you to define when you want to capture an outlier and what would be defined as an outlier, what would be defined as a good quality forecast, so the statistical models will get into the blame, and when it's not. And there are many different validations. So a lot of capabilities that need to be utilized correctly. ODMC challenges. So few of the challenges. It's usually a task. You saw the list of the capabilities. So it's a task that you need to be. You need to bring an expert in order to do tuning, right? If you want the tuning to be effective, you need an expert to do that. As I said earlier, improving your statistical forecast is not something that you do once. You want to do it continuously because your data changes continuously. When it comes to forecast, when you improve, you usually improve based on the error. We dropped the WMAP from 32% error into 25% error. That's great, but is it enough? From our experience, that's not enough. Dropping the number is a good start, but that's just from the quantitative perspective. What about the qualitative, right? Because when we measure an error, we measure the error on an out of sample. And then is the forecast that we improved really a forecast that the planners are adopting? And that's has to do with, I see customers that say, yeah, we're running the statistical engine and we are using it, but then you find out that 90% of the forecast is getting overridden by user overrides. Are you really using the statistical forecast? Now, not blaming anyone, because if the forecast quality is not better than your moving average, and I heard that many times in my career, we are running the statistical models, but moving average on Excel is better. So then why should you use it? So tuning is important, tuning is critical, but tuning also have to work effectively for the planners, because in the end of the day, we are going and investing into demand forecasting and demand planning application in order for them to enable the planners to do more and faster, not the opposite, right? So what's the solution before I'm going to jump into the demo? So the solution I'm about to present to you today is what we call analytical factor autonomous forecast, which is basically we took all the knowledge we have and we try to bring that as a SaaS solution that will enable any customer to do tuning and improve the statistical forecast on an ongoing basis without the need to call experts like analytical factor. We embedded all the best practice knowledge that we have into optimization processes that then anyone can run, and then it will optimize your statistical forecast. It's also enable you to do segmentation, configure segmentation, run segmentation. The segmentation can then impact the number of forecasting profiles you're going to have. So every segment can be then served as the basis for specific forecast profile for that segment only. And then the last one is digital assistant, which I'm going to also show you in the demo, which is digital assistant from my perspective is the egg if our autonomous forecast is a cake. It's blending, basically, it's putting everything together, because the digital assistant will give you the guideline, what you need to do, what matters, where you have challenges, where you have errors, and guide you on how often you need to run your segmentation, or guide you on which optimization profiles you need to run and why. Now, with that said, let me stop here, and we're going to be back into a few closing slides and move into the demo for a second. Okay, so what you see in front of you is the landing page for autonomous forecast. Now, before I'm going to jump into autonomous forecast, you see on the top that there is also demand sensing and forecast accuracy. Our SaaS solution consists of those three building blocks: demand sensing, forecast accuracy, and autonomous forecast. I'm going to speak today only about autonomous forecast, but I'm also going to mention at the end we have other sessions about the other capabilities that we have. Let's jump into autonomous forecast. So that's the landing page. It's the top of the dashboards. As you can see, we have dashboards, we have schedule, we're going to have analyze, and then digital assistant. What do we see within the dashboard? It consists of three building blocks. The first one is giving you a simple, straightforward KPI to understand what's your accuracy from a quantitative perspective, right? So what is my WMAP for the engine run that I ran one before the last? And then what is the bias for that forecast run? And then we're going to have the ability to understand, are we improving? Is the WMAP improved from last month? Do I have a regression on that front? And I can also view that over time. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is the demand behavior analysis. That's basically the segmentation. At the demo that I show you today, I ran the segmentation, and I have three segments. I have the high intermittency, high variability, and low variability. Now, there are two options. Either I'm going to embed the segmentation, and then that KPI will show me that segmentation, or it's not. By the way, it's not a must. I can continue to use my Oracle Demand Management Cloud without the segmentation. I have one statistical profile, statistical focus profile, and I don't want to embed segmentation. That KPI will still going to serve you, because that KPI will run the segmentation on the stream that you are doing forecasting for, and will give you a perspective of, if you would do the segmentation, what's the percentage of from the overall demand, from the demand sum. So from the total demand, what's the percentage for the high intermittency, what's the percentage for the high variability, and what's the percentage for the low variability. So as you can see over here, and that's usually the case with most of our customers, 70 to 85% of the demand goes into the low variability, right? And then the second attribute that we're going to see within this KPI would be the combination count. So from the overall combination count, I see over here that 27% of the combinations are highly intermittent, and then 51% are with high variability. Now that is an important information to know, because I see that more than half from my combination count on my Oracle Demand Management Cloud at this demo are combinations that are only representing 13% from the overall demand. So if I need to improve my forecast and I want my planners to have a significant impact on improving my WMAP, I'm not sure that I want them to start with looking into the highly variable combinations. I probably will want them to look into the low variability, because on the low variability, I have not that many combinations. I have only 22% of the combinations, but they count for 75% of the demand. So improving those 22% of the combination will have the most biggest impact on improving my error, right? And the last one will show me also if the percentage of error per every bucket. So that's that KPI. What we see on the bottom would be the process of running optimization. So recent optimization runs, I can see what are the last 3 optimization runs that I did. I can see the status of those runs. I can see what was the plan they were running on. I can see what was the optimization profile, and I will speak about that in a second. And I can see what is the improvement that each one of them brought when I ran them. I can also see that I have 2 scheduled optimization runs, and I can see on which optimization profile they are scheduled to run. Let's go into scheduling. Scheduling is straightforward. I can come into scheduling. I can see what my current runs, if I have them, I can see them, and I can even terminate them. I can see those which are scheduled, and I can manage runs. So if I want to create a new profile, if I want the autonomous forecast to optimize something for me, I can come over here, and then I'm going to select a run type. We have 3 types that we support. Demand Management Cloud, which is basically running ODMC to optimize a forecasting profile. We have the segment and cluster, and that will basically run for me the segmentation in order to refresh the configuration, right? As I said earlier, I can run the segmentation. First time it will divide the overall combinations into the segment, and then I can schedule a segment and cluster to refresh that anytime I want. And our recommendation will be to run that segment and cluster once a month. And the last one, and I'm going to speak about it in our later when I'm back into the presentation, is the external models. It's our ability to enable you to run external statistical forecast models, or I would say external algorithms that will enable you to generate statistical forecast outside from the ones that you have within Oracle. We know of some customers that are looking to use their external algorithms that they developed that are more specified on their data challenges, that they don't find the resolution for that within the 15 models in Oracle, and they want that to be blended into the Oracle solution. So it's all about that. Let me continue with Oracle Demand Management for now. So I selected the run type for Demand Management Cloud. Then I'm going to select the forecasting profile that comes from ODMC. So it's an integration into ODMC. I'm going to run optimization on my forecast shipments. Another thing to consider, when it comes to Oracle, you have the ability to create as many forecast profiles as you want. And it's important. Why? For 2 aspects. One, you can forecast different demand streams. You can forecast your booking, your shipments, your point of sale data if you have it, and you harmonize it into your Oracle Demand Management Cloud. So that's one way to use it. And the second way to use it is you can take your shipment data and then segment that and run different forecasting profiles for different segments of the same data. So basically, I can take the shipment data and create 3 different or X different forecast profiles on the same data, where each one of them going to have a filter of the segment that it represents. Then a plan. If you're familiar with Oracle Demand Management Cloud, we are working within plan. Again, dynamic integration into Oracle Demand Management Cloud, and it's going to show you the plans that you currently have within that solution. And I can select one. And then comes the ODMC capabilities, because so far it was information that comes from Oracle Demand Management Cloud. The optimization profiles are the basically domain of expertise of Analytical Factor embedded with autonomous focus, right? Let's take one as an example, demand smoothing. So if I select demand smoothing, I get over here a description that explains to me what that profile is about, what it's about to look into my data, and what it's about to try and optimize. So that would be one way to look at that. When we're going to get into the digital assistant, you're going to see that we are also going to recommend when to use each of those optimization profiles. And obviously, as part of the training we're going to provide our customers, we're also going to give you some more knowledge of which of the optimization profiles you want to use when. All I need to do is to define when I want to schedule it. I'm going to schedule it for tomorrow. I click done, and then I schedule the profile, right? And I'm done. And I see that I just scheduled a profile to run on a specific plan within a specific profile and based on optimization. Now, once it's going to get complete and I'm going to be able to see it over here, I'm also going to be able to analyze it. And let me move into the Analyze tab. So within the Analyze, I'm going to be able to select which optimization profile that finished or completed I want to look at. And as you can see over here, I'm looking into this regression model optimization profile, and I have a lot of information in front of me. I can see that before I started to run that optimization, what was my initial WMAP, and then what was the WMAP, the final WMAP after that optimization completed. So as you can see, it did improve. It reduced my error but by 0.68%. I can also keep track of the bias. Is the bias still making sense while I improve that error? That's not always the case. I can see also the runtime for that. And most importantly, I can see what was the decisions. So that optimization process that ran and tried to optimize my regression model's configuration found that I need to change the following models, and then that will drive that improvement. Now, the solution not going to run on your production instance, but will run on your lower instance. And then those that will run the improvement on a one click of implement, it will drive the changes automatically into my production. Either that, or we have another option to move them by a script if IT would want to have more control in the process. Either are fine. So that's the cycle. It's about scheduling different processes and then executing them and then looking into what was the outcome of that process. Now, let me move into digital assistant. I think that will complete the picture, as I said earlier. So digital assistant can work per different segments. And as I said earlier, my demo over here is built around 3 different segments, so I can choose the digital assistant recommendation per different segments. Let me show you the low variability one. So the first example for digital assistant recommendation is, and I see over here list of things that the digital assistant basically found for me as I ran it over the weekend. So the first one shows me demand clustering. It basically gives me the indication of what is my current cluster and then what is the suggested. And I can see that since I didn't run the demand segmentation for a while, the digital assistant process found that there is significant gap between the current cluster and that I'm running with to compare to the data that I have. So basically, on high intermittency, 27% of the combinations are marked as highly intermittent, while only 24% of them are highly intermittent. So if I would run the refresh, it would change from the blue bars into the green bars. So it gives me that it basically identified, the digital assistant identified that I need to refresh my segmentation, and then execute will create and schedule a clustering profile that will run automatically. Another example, demand exceptions. Running the digital assistant looked into my low variability data and found combinations where the statistical models or the statistical forecasting profile doesn't understand the data. As you can see, the green line on the graph is our history and the blue one would be our forecast. And you can see that in the past, we see that there is a jump in the demand where in May 2020, where the forecast doesn't understand that, because we see that the blue line doesn't follow the green on the spike that we have around May timeframe. And then the digital assistant picked on that, and then the digital assistant will enable me to run and also will recommend for me what are the things that I need to run from optimization perspective in order to do that. In the case over here, in that example, the digital assistant recommends that we're going to add a causal factor in order to explain that spike, because maybe there is a promotion over here and the statistical models are not aware of that promotion. So it's basically identifying spikes in the demand that the forecasting model doesn't understand, and it found that it happens not on just on one combination, but it happens on few combinations. And because of that, it recommends that maybe we need to create a causal factor around that. Another example can be a demand shift. Our digital assistant ran on the aggregate of the low variability data, and then when it looks at the mass, it finds that, as you can see again, the blue one would be the demand in that case, and it sees that the statistical forecast is flat, and it doesn't understand the regime change or the demand change, if you will, from the year of 2019 into 2020. And then based on that, it recommends me to run two different optimization profiles that can potentially resolve that challenge. And then clicking on execute will schedule those two optimization profiles as upcoming runs of the optimization. There are other things that digital assistant will provide, like for example, and you can see on the list, it's going to run and validate all your different parameters of your statistical forecast profiles based on the best practice knowledge and expertise that we have over the years, right? So for those of you who know Nadav over the years, and you know, many spoke to Nadav and tried to pick his brain about what is the best practice. We took all that experience and more and put that into algorithms that runs over your configuration and check all the parameters are intact, is trend configured correctly to the data, the proportions are matching the demand rules that you have. So those are examples for things for the digital assistant will run on your data, will try to bridge the gap between what is your configuration, what is your data, and what is best practice, and give you all those alerts and recommendations over here, and then those can be triggered into scheduling runs of the optimization profiles in order to improve your statistical forecast. Now, another thing that I think it's important to mention is that that process also will, over time, generate domain of expertise of statistical forecast in general, but utilizing the statistical forecast capabilities of ODMC in-house without the need to go outside and look for experts. So you're going to be able to do it continuously. With that, let me move back into some closing slides. Okay. A bit about the digital assistant. So basically, the digital assistant is we used some of the latest capabilities in the industry when it comes to technology. And as I said earlier, we basically took everything that we do on a tuning engagement over the years. We looked into what we did over the years, what are the common things that we do, and we basically translated them into, I would say, machine learning and algorithms that we are running on your data based on your data challenges, and we are alerting where things matter. And then on the other side of the equation, we provided scripts that will utilize the statistical forecasting capabilities within ODMC to resolve the challenges that we find with the digital assistant. So basically, digital assistant is, in a way, what we do on tuning as humans in an automated way that consists of two. One, finds the alerts, look for different patterns. That's the machine learning part. It's looking into different patterns of behavior, looking into different challenges that we usually look as humans when we do tuning, and then present them to you as an end user in a meaningful way and in as simple as possible contextual view, and then give you recommendations of what of the optimization capabilities that we developed you should run in order to try and mitigate the challenge and improve your forecast. And you can do that as many times as you want. It's not a one-time thing. You can use it and run it and improve and maintain your forecast on a monthly basis or yearly basis. So what's the benefit for autonomous forecast? Let me look high level on four of them. So the first one is, as I said, you can run this on an ongoing regular basis without the need for experts from the outside. It's a simple, straightforward tool that comes as a SaaS solution and therefore comes with also our support and knowledge sharing as much as needed, so you can do tuning by yourself. Now, why it's important? Because you can maintain your statistical forecast accuracy on ongoing basis. And here is one thing to think about. We have customers that come to us once a year. Those are the more advanced customers, in my opinion, and they come every year and ask us to tune their engine. And what we learned over the year is that they come every year because we improve. So last year we improved the forecast and we dropped the error by 15% points, which was great. But then a year after, they see that the forecast error grew by 10%, and they want to get back into where they were at the beginning of the year after the initial tuning. And I would say, think about it differently. If we improved and we got into a 15% points drop, let's make sure that we are constantly on that level of accuracy. And if not, if anything, we want to improve. We don't want to have the regression on the accuracy. And the capability to do it is by continuously fine-tune your statistical models on an ongoing basis, once a month, once a quarter, but don't wait for a year. And that's a big plus with autonomous forecast. It's automatic. You don't have to do much. You don't need experts. It's a process that you can schedule and run. The digital assistant will run and then give you the answer. So you don't have to wait in front of it. You don't have to wait for every engine to finish and then measure the accuracy. The autonomous forecast will run the engine, will take different perspectives or run it in many different permutations and give you the optimal result without the need for you to waste the time between the iterations. And it also show you in a very simple way. You saw the KPIs, they speak for themselves. It show you what is the issue, how you can change it, and how you improved it. So what I want you to, the key takeaways I wish you take from today's discussion. It's complete. It's complete for, if you want to do tuning, you have a complete process within the solution from start to end that you can make an impact. You use this tool, you don't need experts in order to make an impact. You don't need any external resources in order to do tuning. It's dynamic. You can have a dynamic segmentation. Segmentation can change as your data changes. And that's really valuable for those of you who are using segmentation. You would understand what I say by having the segmentation live and dynamic and change over time. It's simple. You store the UI. It's straightforward, very simple to use. It's not a cumbersome UI. Even within, when you have to configure a profile, it's not more than 6 clicks. Within 6 clicks, you configure a profile within the digital assistant. We give you a lot of information, but all you have to do is just click on a button, which automatically will do the rest and configure for you what is needed in order to do the improvement. And it's cutting edge. When I keep hearing AI, machine learning, big data, using R, we use all of that blended in this solution. It's a SaaS solution that complements Oracle Demand Management Cloud. A bit about our next release, or next releases, I should say. We are gonna committed to continuously drive improvements and enhance this solution. It took us a year to show you what we have because we wanted to make sure that everything makes sense. But for us, it's just a start. We are eager to drive way more capabilities into that. Let me speak about few. We're going to continue to generate more optimization profiles. So you're going to have more alternatives of optimizing based on different challenges. The digital assistant going to have constantly more things that it's going to look based on different customer scenarios. And the last thing, which I think it's important, and I mentioned that a bit within the demo, is enabling you to run external statistical models. So 2 models that we know that we're going to bring into the solution is the short-term forecasting. So we're going to bring the capability to run short-term forecasting, which is very different than regression modeling. It's about trying to understand accurately what would be the forecast for the next 8 to 13 weeks, and that take into consideration things like point of sale data, promotional, open orders, on hand, and other attributes like weather. Blend all of them with your historical demand in order to improve the quality of the forecast on the short term. So that would be another algorithm that you're going to be able to utilize into ODMC from autonomous forecast. Some of our research we want to blend the ADIDA model, which is basically a different intermittent model that will enable customers that have challenges with the current forecasting algorithms that ODMC comes with. ODMC comes with 3 different intermittent models, and from our experience, they are not always answering the customer demands around intermittency. So we are trying to complete the picture by bringing this new statistical intermittency model to bridge the gap. And the last one, which I think many will find interesting, is if you have your own development of external statistical models, and I know a few customers that are developing or developed statistical models in R around their challenges and around their data, you can now plug that through autonomous forecast into your ODMC. So it will bridge that gap as well. About our upcoming webinars. So TPP is our version for trade promotion. The demand for trade promotion in the cloud is TPP. As I said, we are Oracle partners. We are developing that together with our partners, which is Trinomics. And Nadav Zivelin will do a webinar on the capabilities on November 3rd. Looks really good. Recommend you to look at that if you have the interest of using Oracle Demand Management Cloud and you also want to manage promotions. So that's regarding that. As I showed you earlier, as part of our solution, we have demand sensing, and we're going to do a webinar on that capability in the coming quarter. We're going to publish about that and also about our Demantra data archive extension. For those of you who are using Demantra, I'm sure that all of you have the challenges of how do I archive my settlements, how do I archive my promotions or any other general level. So we developed a simple, straightforward extension that basically get implemented into Demantra that enable users to do archive and then A, have the ability to archive, and B, improve your overall performance of the worksheet significantly. So we're also going to have a webinar on that extension and that capability. Before I'm going to finish, I just wanted, I mentioned them. I want to speak a bit about our partners. We are proud to be to work together closely with Trinomics. If you didn't hear about Trinomics until now, Trinomics are the leading consulting party for Oracle when it comes to Oracle cloud applications and value chain planning. A lot of capabilities, dedicated people, and I think that what I really like about Trinomics, and in a way, this is what basically connects us. Beside bringing all the capabilities together to our customers, both of us put our customers first. We look to make our customers happy, and we really happy to share with Trinomics the same philosophy about making our customers happy and put them first. With that said, I want to thank you for spending the time with me today and enable me to show you our solution. We are really excited about that solution, and if anyone has more specific question about that, I'm going to be happy to go offline and have more direct discussion about the solution. Shaul, I hand it to you.
Thank you, Sharon. Seems that there are no questions were asked. However, if anyone would like to discuss with us the solution and learn more about the capabilities, please reach out to us directly. And with that, thank you everyone. We appreciate you being here. And as Sharon said and mentioned, check our future webinars. Thank you again for joining us today. Looking forward to see you next time. Bye-bye.